Okay, so this is the Patrick County Administrative Building here, and I recently FOIA requested some county credit card statements, and seen that the county employees here are charging the county taxpayers meals. They're going locally here, and they think it's okay for them to purchase their lunch on the county. So I'm going to go in here to the administration building and find out if I can grab me a county credit card and take my wife to lunch. So it is April 12th. The time is 10:49. Let's see how well this works out. As you can see, there are no signs that says no recording. There's a reminder that they're always recording us. Hi. I just need to see who I need to talk to about acquiring a county credit card so I can take my wife to lunch, please. I figure since county employees are doing it, the citizens might as well see if we can do it as well.
Sir, can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to know how do I acquire a government credit card or a county credit card? I'd like to take my wife to lunch.
Okay, you're not an employee of Patrick County, correct?
No, but I'm just wanting to see, since it's okay for county employees to do it.
Come on, sir. Will you pop back here in my office if that's okay?
Yeah, I was just figuring since it was okay for county employees to do it, then I'd see if I could try to get one as well. I am recording, just so you know.
Okay. I understand your frustration, but that's just we don't provide county credit cards to non-county employees.
Okay. So what are we going to do to stop some of this wasteful spending? As far as I would like to actually set up an appointment to come and speak to you, because I've got a lot of credit card statements. I don't know if you remember when I spoke at the county meeting just recently. A lot of misuse of those credit cards, and it's costing us taxpayers a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, if you would like to set up a meeting,
I would.
I'll bring in my finance officer.
I'm not doing this to be a pain in anybody's butt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing this to this ain't funny. I'm
Sir,
doing
I'm
this
not
to
laughing.
no, I know that, and I appreciate, I've never had any issues with you as well. I think this is actually the first time you and I've actually spoke.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like I was saying during the meeting, we have county employees that are going to local training, and they are
And I understand that, but I do understand on another hand, you know, you mentioned something about Danville. You know, I didn't use my county credit card the other day when I went to a lunch in Danville. I believe I should have had the right to. I had meetings back to back here. I got in my car. I was on my phone on a meeting the entire way to Danville. I went to a lunch meeting at 12 o'clock at Danville. I had a meeting at the Institute at 2 o'clock. I mean, other than throwing a peanut butter jelly sandwich in my mouth. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So I get what you're saying.
I
on one
understand.
hand, and when it's close by, but I also get, we run a very lean staff, and I've got people in here who don't take lunch at all. What we don't see on a FOIA request is, I went to Richmond for a 3-day training, not 3-day training, 3-day, you know how many meals I charged? Over 3 days. Technically, I have the right to charge
Yes.
9 meals.
Yeah.
I charge 2.
Okay. And you know.
So, and that's what we don't see. And I know my
I do see
staff
that.
are doing the same
I do
thing.
see that. I do see that on FOIA request. I do see, again,
No,
you know,
you don't
coming
see my
from
schedule.
experience being in the Army and dealing with the financial portion of it when I was the school's NCO for my battalion. When I sent, so if again, when I was down recruiting in Texas, when I was up in northern Houston, I had to go all the way downtown, or there's times where I had to go to Conroe 2-3 hours, you know, a couple hours away. They, at no point in time did the federal government allow me to charge my meals. Now, if you
Well,
go
I would
for
assume now
dinner,
that might be different.
no, it's still not the same, because I just contacted a friend of mine the other day and asked him the same thing. You know, that's the
Our
least.
policy is based off of the federal. We go by, there's a website that shows how much is
Yeah,
allocated for
when
each
you
meal
when
based
you
on
are
the federal
going
government's.
basically per diem, or
Yes.
you get per diem when you're going, like
Travel,
for
yes.
example, in the Army when I was TDY. Okay, if my battalion, when I was a recruiter in the Houston Willowbrook recruiting station, when my battalion said on Friday, January 15th, we're going to have training, everybody needs to be down there. We jumped in a government car again, like I said before. They're asking me to travel down there. I don't expect to jump in my vehicle. You know that they allowed us to do that. When we got down there, this is mandatory training. I can't get out of it. The only way I can get out of it is if I'm dead or I'm in the hospital. I can't get out of it. I get down there. They don't allow me to activate my government credit card and go swipe it and buy meals. That right there is what I'm talking about. Now, when I went from Willowbrook recruiting station to South Carolina when I was TDY, because I was in the recruiter school, at that point my credit card was activated. I was on travel orders. I was TDY. I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I was allowed meals. I wasn't allowed lodging because they had lodging on the base. Now, if it was all full, there were some guys that were allowed to be in hotels and that outside the base. We were allowed a per diem per day per meals. We were allowed 3, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes.
You go any over that, you pay it out of pocket.
Yes.
So in that sense, I understand that. But like I said, going to Martinsville or going local and buying lunches, I think that's a little bit too much, because look at how many people in this county that are going to training with their companies, they're not being allowed. It's no different than, it's the same thing as these, the biggest point I was trying to make is the inmates. In September of 2023, the county spent $555.38 just on criminals to eat. And they're eating better than most of these citizens in this county. And that's where that should be a concern for you and anybody else in this county, because, like I said, I see it firsthand. I'm not going to sit and point fingers and say when was the last time anybody from this county went and handed out food to the citizens and actually seen the struggle that these people are having? They can't barely rub 2 pennies together to get food for themselves. I've seen an old lady that was 70, 80 years old, had Formula One racing slicks on her tires, on her car, and she couldn't afford to put them on there because it's too expensive. We're in one of the worst recessions and inflations this country has seen since the 70s, since Carter's administration. We're now dealing with the trash and everything else, high taxes and everything else. Now these criminals are able to go out and eat Little Caesars, and I've seen all the receipts for them. They go Hardee's. You got drinks. They're going to the Chinese restaurant. They're next to Little Caesars. That's not fair. when you got people who are struggling in this
And so
county.
whenever somebody brings something to that public comment, if you notice, I make notes.
I didn't see. I was more concerned. I was keeping my eye on the
This was just
board.
brought up Monday night, and I believe I do my due diligence and looking into things.
Well,
Now, everybody's not gonna agree with every policy we make.
Yeah.
I'm
No, I
gonna be
know that.
honest, I'm not gonna tell people if they're working 9 or 10 hours straight for me and they're busting their butt because they're a one-person department in Patrick County, when if you go anywhere else, there's a 3-person department splitting that work. I'm not gonna tell them if they go to Danville, they can't have a meal. I'm
Well,
probably
they can eat.
I'm probably not gonna tell them that.
They can eat. Just don't
Well,
charge it to the county.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, I believe I do my due diligence, and when a citizen brings up any issue, we look into it.
Yeah.
Now, once again, not everybody's gonna agree with every policy we have. You reference the federal government a lot. I'm sure not everybody agrees with their policies.
No.
So, it's,
I would, again, that was something, after I was going to do it this week, I've just been busy this week, but I wanted to come and speak to you about some of the things that I'm seeing on those credit cards. There's some charges on there, even to Belk. You know what Belk is?
yes, I know what Belk is, sir.
In Martinsville.
Yes.
I don't understand why and there's nothing there that the county needs.
I'd be happy to, I've got another meeting supposed to starting at 11. I'm gonna be late to it. It's virtual, but, I'd be happy to, if you wanna set up
I would
a
like to
time.
set something up, and I'll print out some of this, because like I said, I just think, in my opinion, $555 a month for inmates, and like I said during that meeting, I called, and not just one or two, I've called numerous counties around the Commonwealth and asked them what their policy is and what their procedures are, and every single one of them told me they're absolutely not. We don't ever buy them fast food like that. They're criminals. They're being punished. They're not to be pampered. Even though some of them may just be in there for something very minor, it doesn't matter. They're still criminals. And when you have criminals that are eating better than citizens in the county, that's where the problem I have. And so should everybody else in this county. And so should you and anybody and the Board of Supervisors.
So, I'm looking at my calendar. We're in the middle of budget season, so I'm trying to save time to be sure I'm being diligent on our budget. But it looks like the week of April 29th and 30th,
That's fine
and
with
that
me.
May 1st, is there a time that, do
No.
you need to check your calendar or anything?
No, probably anytime, maybe after, hold on, let me,